ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hariom, salutations to one and all. So Nirvana Shatkam, we have been seeing the first verse where the subtle body was negated. Now the word Nirvana has many meanings. One meaning is, in Awadhi Bhasha, va and ba are interchangeable. So, Vraj will become Braj. So in that way here, Nirvana can also mean Nirban. So, the mind, when it is in a state where it is not tempted at all by the sense objects, that state of mind, that steady mind, that state can also be called as Nirvana. The arrows from the world, they don't affect the person. The mind has become so strong in its Vivek and Vairagya. So that is one meaning of that Nirvana. Other meaning is Vata, means the winds. So the winds of desires make the mind and intellect unsteady. And so Nirvana, meaning desirelessness. So the mind which is not craving for sense enjoyment, is not extroverted, is the mind which can remain steady in contemplation and attain that state of absolute desirelessness. So that state of desirelessness, which is the nature of the self, is indicated by Nirvana. And so the mind which has attained that state, the mind which has become free, hence we call Nirvana, the meaning of Nirvana is also moksha, that it is free from what? Free from the desire. Otherwise the desire, as we saw, is a sense of incompleteness. And to fulfill that, we seek object, emotion and thought. So that mind which is desireless steadily contemplates on the truth and attains that state of complete desirelessness, meaning complete fulfillment. That state of freedom is called as Nirvana. And these 6 verses are to lead us to that state. Hence Nirvana Shatkam. Shat means 6. Shat means 100. So one should not say Nirvana Shatakam. Shatakam means 100 verses. It is Shatkam, 6 verses. In the Gita there is a very beautiful analogy which is given where the yogi's mind is compared to a steady flame. Yatha deepo nivatastha nengate sopamasmrita. So the yogi's mind is compared to that the flame is so steady, the mind is so steady because the winds of desires are not troubling this mind, and the mind remains in that state of quietude so that it can contemplate. See, through the days the mind may have desire, one is working, one is doing so many other things. One is not saying that one remains in desirelessness throughout the day. But when we are sitting in the seat of contemplation, at that time, the Viveka and Vairagya that is there, the mind should not go out. Only then the mind will be steady in contemplation. At that time, if the desires are overwhelming, the emotions are overwhelming, one feels like going out, doing something, then that mind is not yet become strong in Viveka and Vairagya. So that's why the earlier preparation that we spoke about. When all that is done, Vivek, Vairagya, and then the Sakka Sampatti, Mokshutvam, one goes to the Guru, listens, reflects, then one comes to the stage of Nididhyasana, where steadily one can assert what is the reality and negate who I am not. So in that the first shloka we saw that the subtle body was negated. This Nirvana Shatkam is also called as Atma Shatkam. A very nice connection. That when I know the Atma, that who am I truly, that is Nirvana. That is freedom. Freedom from the root cause of sorrow, which is ignorance. Otherwise, the word moksha is again very misunderstood. One thing moksha means after death, or one means nirvana itself means death. ये निर्वाण को प्राप्त हो गए, meaning the body has dropped. Or one thinks that moksha is going somewhere, being in some plane of awareness, or being close to the Lord. There are different understandings of moksha. In Vedanta we always say that Atma Jnana is moksha, while living here itself. Ramana Maharshi said in Upadeshar, Atma Samsthiti hi Atma Darshana. To abide in the self is the vision, is self-realization. Isha Darshanam Svatma Rupataha. And the vision of the Lord also that one has is as one's own true self, not as someone else separate. So to know that real nature of the self and to know that as me, to negate all these 6 verses are written. Hence you will see in contemplation always the language used is aham. Shivoham, Chidananda Rupoham, Asangoham. Because the real meaning of I is what we don't know, and we have mixed both the things. What I am not, I have mixed up with and misunderstood myself to be that. Hence these 6 verses are to negate who I am not and to constantly assert that what is my nature. Hence Atma Shatkam and Nirvana Shatkam. Knowing the Atma is freedom, and freedom is the nature of Atma. So here in this, the first shloka, the subtle body was negated. Mind, intellect, memory, ego, I am not. I am not the 5 senses. I am not the 5 elements. Then who am I? Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. Today we go to the second verse where he negates the gross body. Generally the gross body would have got negated first, but Shankaracharya negates the subtle body first, because all the bondage is felt by this mind, not by the body. Mind has got attached to the body, hence there is bondage. So that mind is negated first, that I am not this. Now he comes to the body. You can play. First and second together is also fine. Shivoham, 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 शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं सदा चिन्मयोऽहं सदा सच्चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं 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 सदा चिन्मयोऽहं न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायुः न वा सप्तधातुर्न वा पञ्चकोशः न वा पाणिपादौ न चोपस्थपायो चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्. So the Lord Shankaracharya says here, Nacha prana sangyo, I am not the prana. Generally one considers prana as the expression of life, as consciousness also. Because we see something which is alive, so we feel that there is consciousness in that. And something which is non-living, inert, so we feel that there is the difference between sentient and the inert is the consciousness. Actually it is the expression of consciousness, it is not consciousness. Consciousness isn't there in both. So when we see something living, so the prana shakti is there. So that person is alive or that being is alive because of the prana. So one thinks that there is life, there is consciousness, and that is a prana. But prana is not consciousness. Prana is only, it is a vital energy, the universal energy. It is not air, it is not one of the constituents of air, it is not oxygen, but it is a vital force which is there in all the five elements. So we take in prana through food also. Grossest form of prana we take in through the food, through the air that we breathe, through the water that we drink, through the sunlight, and even in space there is prana. So upvas, etc. we do. So the body being made up of five elements, the body is sustained by the five elements, and the five elements have prana, the cosmic energy. So it is a vitality, or the vital air is how we translate it. So he says, I am not the prana. This prana manifests in the body in the form of Panchavayu. So prana is what we take in, apana is what we throw out, vyana is the circulation, udana is the ejection, creativity, all that comes from udana. At the time of death, the mind leaves the body because of udana vayu. So the ejection happens because of udana vayu. And samana is absorption, assimilation. So these are five physiological functions of the body. And these five physiological functions, when we control, it is called pranayama. That's why Gurudev always used to say that it is not only control of breath. Control of breath is called shvasayama. But control of prana, control of all the five physiological systems of the body, and there are upapranas also. There is prana responsible for yawning. There is a prana responsible for sweating. So there are different functions of the body and there are pranas associated with these. Five main pranas, five upapranas are there. If one feeling drowsy, the prana is weaker. The different expressions of prana are there. So this is the prana, is the energy, it is the fuel which is used by both the body and the mind. Just like the car uses petrol, the body uses pranic energy. And the mind also uses pranic energy to think, to meditate. Breath is one of the forms. As I said earlier, there are a lot of other ways in which we take in prana. Hence you will find that some of the yogis are able to live without food because they take in prana from other sources. Some are able to live only on sunlight. So prana is the energy, the fuel by which the body and the mind get their energy, get the power to function. It is the rope that actually holds the body and the mind together. Have you ever thought that in the dream, when we sleep, we go to dream, we do actually astral travel. We go to so many different places, we imagine so many things. Have you ever wondered that how is it that you wake up in the same body? When I dream, I am not in the physical body, I am not aware of the physical body, I am in a different plane of consciousness. And each one's dreams are very different. We take up different identities in the dream, visit different lokas as though, create our own dream world. But we wake up in the same body. Lucky. Otherwise we don't know who wakes up now in which body. Confusion it is. How does that happen? The mind goes all over, but it wakes up in the same body. Because prana is the rope which connects that mind to the body. So wherever the mind goes, it will come back to the same body. And that rope is cut at the time of death. Then that prana, along with the mind, ejects that body and goes. So then the body is called as dead. Body was already dead. It is made up of 5 elements which are by themselves jada. Prana is only the life, not life. Prana is only the energy by which the body will function. So here when he said, I am not the 5 pranas. Why do we say that I am not the 5 pranas? Because one is prana, is jada, is inert. Because again prana is derived from 5 elements. 5 elements themselves are inert. This prana also is inert. No, but how is that inert able to give us so much of energy? So many things which are inert give us energy. Electricity is a power derived from what? From water. That is jada only. So elements have that energy, body consumes that energy, uses that to function. Appears that the body is alive because of that. So we forget that there is a consciousness which makes all this happen. So one is prana, is jada. At this moment we should also know what is the difference between jada and chetan. What is sentient and what is inert. That which is capable of knowing itself and knowing beings around or whatever is around is called as chetan. Swayam bhati anyan bhasayati. It knows itself and it knows beings around. That is called as chetan, consciousness. So prana doesn't know itself, prana doesn't know anything around. Now how do you say that? Because if prana knew, there would not be any theft possible when we are sleeping. Because the moment somebody comes, the prana will become alert. Arey, somebody has come. But we are blissfully sleeping, not aware at all. So prana is jada, is inert. Just like the body by itself also is inert. Mind by itself also is jada. But mind is able to know because of that consciousness reflecting in this mind and intellect. So it has that sentiency, hence it is able to know itself and is able to know other things around. So once I understand this, that prana is jada I am not the prana. One. Two, prana is not aware of its own controller. There is a controller of prana also. So the mind controls the prana. Hence we say that Vayurodhanat liyate manaha. We control the breath, mind gets controlled, and when the mind goes through different states, the breath gets affected. So when the mind is angry, the breath becomes shallow. And if I control the mind, prana automatically gets controlled. So prana is very gross, mind is much more subtler. Prana has its own controller, which is the mind. And prana comes and goes. Every minute we are taking in prana, leaving out prana. Even at the time of body, it enters at the time of birth, it enters the body. At the time of death, it goes out of the body. Atma is not something which comes in and goes out. It is infinite, all pervasive. It doesn't have to come and go. So there are many of these reasons because of which we say that prana is not the Atma. And I am not the prana because I can witness the states of prana. Now the breathing is shallow, now the breathing is deep, now there is a digestion problem, now there is a circulation problem. I am aware of all that. Hence we say naja prana sanyo, navai panchavayuhu, nava sapta dhatu. I am not the sapta dhatu. So the word dhatu here does not mean metal. The word dhatu here means the components. 7 components are there in the body. What are they? Skin, blood, fat, bone, flesh, muscle, marrow. 7 things. If we thought medical science was very advanced, you should see some of the compositions which are there. Charak Samhita, Sushruta Samhita. So much of detail. These are 7 aspects. Combination of these 7 things is this body. Each of these 7 things by themselves, do we like any of them? Suppose we say that we'll remove all the skin and give it. Will we like? With the skin which is so nice, with Fair and Lovely and so many sunscreen lotion, this, that, very soft and smooth skin that has been made. We'll remove all that and give it. We will not like. That's why one of the best ways to get Vairagya, Gurudev used to say, is mentally just analyze the body to which you are so attached, mentally only peel away 1 centimeter of the skin and then say, will you still love that body? One little wound is that immediately put bandage, cover it up somehow. Individually we don't like. But collection when we do, so lovely body. It's very strange, that's called Maya, how it is. In the world there are different types of phobias which are there. Phobia means a type of fear. So there are different funny types of phobias also. There is one type of phobia, I forgot the name. It is called the fear of peanut butter sticking on the top of the mouth. There is one phobia like that. There is ablutophobia, phobia for water, phobia of heights. There are different types of phobia, phobia of darkness. So one man had a phobia called sandwich phobia. The moment he sees sandwich, he will get scared. Guys, sandwich, sandwich, sandwich. So one of his friends decided, I want to get this man out of that phobia. So he said, you come here, sit. So he took out the bread. He said, see this bread. Are you scared of the bread? He said, no. He took out butter. Are you scared of the butter? He says no. So the butter was applied. Then he took out some tomato. Are you scared of this? It's so nice, red, lovely tomato. I love tomato. So he said, cucumber, onion, or everything. Then he took the final slice and put some chutney on that. So are you scared of chutney? He said, not at all. I am only scared of becoming chutney in my house, that's all. Chutney I am not scared of. Last slice of bread. Now are you scared of this? He says no. So he put it on. Now the sandwich is ready. The moment he heard that sandwich is ready, oh, sandwich, 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 he got scared. You just think about it. Our situation is exactly the same. Individually, I don't have problem with skin and blood and bone and marrow and flesh and fat and nothing. But the moment these seven come together, then we get attached to that body, that I am this body. Gurudev used to say this body is 60 kilos of mobile manure. It's moving manure, 60 kilos. Keeps going everywhere. It came from manure, it will become manure. So if I analyze that, am I just this bundle? What comes out of this body is all dirt and filth. So what is inside also is dirt and filth. But that Vivek doesn't apply to us whenever we get tempted. So our mind gets deluded. So he says, Nava Sapta Dhatu. Gurudev's very, very dear friend was one Mr. Shroff. They both had studied together, they used to play tennis together. He used to be in Gujarat. So during his college days. So after some time Gurudev went from Ahmedabad, he went to Delhi, he went to work as a journalist and study law, he went to Lucknow University. Then he got a news that his friend passed away. So he came and attended that funeral ceremony and all that. The parents of that person, Mr. Shroff, told him that, you go to Delhi, will you carry the sacred, the asthi? Can you please offer it into the Gangaji? You just go from Delhi to Haridwar and offer it into Gangaji. So Gurudev said, okay. That time he was Balakrishna Menon. So he said, yes, I will do. He took that, sat in the train. Throughout the train journey, he kept seeing that pot. He said, this was my friend. This is what life is going to be. That ultimately it will become ash, the body will become ash and few bones are left. And this has to be put in the Ganges. Now what are we doing in this life? That entire train journey was such a wake-up call for him that what are we doing with this life? That this is the body, this is the destiny of the body. And I am living in the body as the body. Think about it. The more we reflect on that, the more vairagya we get from the body. That I am not this bundle of dirt and filth. Buddha also saw, Siddhartha, he saw disease, old age and death. And he started reflecting. Gurudev always told us that old age comes by passage of time, maturity comes only by reflection. We also see every day, so many times, disease, old age, death. But that Vivek doesn't arise in the buddhi. That is why satsang is so important. Binu satsanga vivek na hoi. It took so many years for Buddha even to understand that. He was so protected. So when we see all this, do we take a pause and we reflect that this is the same destiny of this body also? So the body goes through 6 stages. Before it was born, this body was not there. After death, it will not remain. And how strange is this Maya? That food, let us say, Black Forest cake. Now that Black Forest cake I see, Black Forest cake is Black Forest cake. I don't say that that is me. And when I eat that, it gets digested and the waste product comes out. I don't call that waste product as me. So the food before it enters the body is not me, after it leaves the body it is not me, but in between, when it has become a modification of blood and flesh and marrow and bone, then suddenly I call that as me. That is delusion. It is still food only. So a person who thinks of all this, that the body goes through stages, it is there, it is born, and it is growing. Tattva Bodh we studied, asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, changes, apakshiyate, becomes old, and then vinashyate, dies. That's the destiny of the body. If I identify with that, then that is my destiny. But if I say, no, I am not this, this is only a tool I have. Real Vairagya starts from the body. It is not from the world. Vivek Chudamani Shankaracharya describes Vairagya. His definition is Dehadi Brahma Paryante Anitya Bhoga Vastuni. It starts from Deha, Dehadi. That I have complete dispassion and Vairagya towards this body, that this body is not me. It is only a tool. Our Gurudev used to live like that, literally. Now he used to take insulin injections. Sometimes he has to take 3 injections in a day. So once when he was, not everywhere there is a doctor or anything, so he himself used to take. So one place there was a devotee with him and Gurudev was taking that injection. So the devotee saw 1 or 2 days. The 3rd day, then Gurudev was taking, the devotee said, Swamiji, does it not pain you? Every day you have to take this injection. Gurudev just looked at the devotee and said, in a very simple statement he said, when I say that I am not the body, I am not the body. He just lived like that. Imagine, 16% of his heart in the last few years, and he would roar on the stage like a lion. The whole Gita camp, if you see the Holy Gita DVDs which are there, he took those talks in PRC. Just look at the compassion of the master. In the talks only somewhere you will find him even mentioning that the doctors have told him to talk only for 20 minutes in a day. Only 20 minutes, not more than that. But he used to speak for 3 hours, 3 classes a day. That's the compassion, that let this knowledge go to people. If it gets recorded, people will have it for posterity. How much of compassion? So like that, many instances one can give. So if I am a Vedantic seeker, I am a student of Vedanta, and I feel that I am the body, then I have not understood the Vedanta properly. This body is not me. Nava Sapta Dhatu. 80% of this body is water. As we become old, the body becomes thin, weak, dehydrated. So it's just temporary, the youthfulness is that stage. So Nava Sapta Dhatur, I am not this body at all. Nava Pancha Koshaha. The analysis of human personality is not found anywhere more comprehensively than in this description of 5 koshas. So many of you know the 5 koshas. Annamaya kosha is the body. It is made up of food. Sustained by food, goes back to food. Pranamaya kosha is the 5 vital airs. Manomaya kosha is the mind along with the 5 senses of knowledge. Vijnanamaya kosha is the mind, is the buddhi, the seat of thoughts with the 5 senses of action. And Anandamaya kosha is the vasanas, or the blissful nature of ours in deep sleep state. Even in the waking state we experience it when we get the object we desire. So these are 5 layers of the personality. And they are called kosha because kosha means a covering, a sheath. So just like the sword is there in the scabbard and it covers the sword and we take it out. Or a person wearing layers and layers of coat when it becomes cold. So the layers of cloth or the coat covers that person. So as though the 5 sheets, they are covering the Atma. Actually the sheets don't cover the Atma. What happens is, we identify with that sheet, hence it appears that the sheet is covering the Atma. Just like the sun appears to be covered by the clouds. Sun can never be covered by the clouds. The cloud actually is created because of sun only. And you can see the cloud also in the light of sun only. But from the standpoint where we are, from the ground, when we see up, then we see as though it is covered. Same way, we are identified with the BMI. So it appears that the BMI covers the self, but it doesn't cover. And if you see, these 5 layers of the personality, they will be shown diagrammatically. So Om is there in the center and they are concentric circles. That is only to show the subtlety. Don't think that Om is some small little thing inside. It is only to show that gross body is much lesser pervasive. Subtle body is much more. Our Pranamaya Kosha is much more. Manomaya is much more than that. So to show that pervasiveness, we show it that way. Now when we say I am not the 5 kosha, what does it mean? When we identify with each kosha, there is a certain expression. So identifying with the body, Annamaya kosha, I feel I am tall, I am dark, I am handsome, I am thin, I am South Indian, I am North Indian, I am American, or so many different things. This is all identified with the body. Identified with the prana, we say I am hungry, I am thirsty, I am yawning, I am sleepy. Identified with the mind, we say I am happy, I am sad, I am angry. With the buddhi we identify and we say that I am successful, I am a failure, I am a democrat, I am a republic, I am an atheist. These are all concepts of the buddhi. Identified with the Anandamaya kosha, what do we say? I am blissful, I didn't know anything, I slept like a log. Or if I get the object that I desire, maja. I think Gujaratis are always in Anandamaya kosha. That's why you ask them, Kem cho? Maja ma. They live in Anandamaya kosha all the time. Only one kosha they have to transcend. They will be in the self. So these are 5 layers. And identifying with each of them, we go through the destiny of each of them. Here it said, I am not the 5 koshas. Why? Because these are layers of the personality. They function only because of the Atma. Subtlest of all these, each kosha is subtler than the previous one. But subtler than all of them is the Atma, in presence of which all of them function together. So these layers of personality, they cannot cover the Atma. So when we say I am hungry, I am thirsty, I am happy, I am sad, those descriptions we should know functionally. They are descriptions of the Atma. I am is the Atma. Nava Pancha Kosha. Navad Pani Padav. I am not the senses of action. Vak is the speech, Pani is the hands, Pada is the feet. Upastha and Apayu, the genital organs and the anus. These 5 senses of action, I am not these. So through the senses of knowledge, the mind collects the information, coordinates it, presents it to the buddhi, and the buddhi takes a decision, communicates it back, and the senses of action also function. So one moves about, one talks, one grabs, so many things one does. Now why am I not these senses of action? Even if the hand is cut, I still remain. Even if the leg is cut, I still remain. So these are parts, avayava. They are only parts. Atma is niravayava. Atma is partless. It doesn't have any parts. One's existence doesn't depend on the senses of action. Even without them, one can still live. Hence he says here that I am none of these. No, I am not the upastha, not the apayu, not the vak, pani, pada. Then who am I? Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. I am that consciousness which enlivens all these. Again, have we ever wondered that waking, dream, deep sleep, these are three states. Identity in waking, dream, deep sleep also is different. The ego that I am, the individual that I am in the waking state, is not the same in the dream. I take so many different identities in the dream state. In the deep sleep state, neither the waking identity is there, nor the dream identity is there. There is no identity only. So the experiencer is different in all the three states. And yet how is it that I remember that I slept well? How is it that I remember the dream? There has to be something which is common. It's the illumination of the Atma, the consciousness, which is same, it doesn't change. So it is in the light of that pure consciousness that I experience everything. Hence we say Chidananda Rupa. It is infinite Ananda, not some temporary bliss, temporary pleasure that comes through senses. But it is infinite, and that's why it is independent, it is unlimited Ananda. No amount of sense enjoyments or mental satisfaction or intellectual happiness will come together to even give a glimpse to us of what that state of Ananda is. That's why in the Upanishad it is said, Bhuma eva sukham, that which is infinite, that alone is happiness or bliss. Alpe sukham na asti. In the limited there is no sukham. Now how do you say that, Swami? When we eat that black forest, Brahmananda we experience in black forest. Why eating? Just the thinking of that is enough. Already some people's mouth starts watering. That is a part of that supreme bliss called as Priya. If we say that at the end of this talk, as you go out, you can take the black forest and go. Really? Some more joy. That is called Pramoda. And if you actually eat it, then that is called Pramoda. Even all this put together of all the beings. Because the moment we enjoy anything temporary, suppose you eat one black forest, you feel so happy. Then what will be the next experience? That's all. Because we want more. The very fact that we say that's all, even if you eat 2, 3, how much it will be? For that moment we feel we have reached saturation point, but then again we want. So in the alpa, in that which is limited, there is no sukha. It is only a delusion that we delude ourselves. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. My nature is absolute bliss, independent bliss, which doesn't depend on anything, not on the body, not on satisfaction of a desire, not on emotional gratification. So this is the second verse. Third verse is connected to the second one. We negated the subtle body, we negated the gross body. Now the modifications of these are negated. Play the third one. न मे लोभमोह मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न पुण्य. So raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. Whenever the sense of incompleteness is there, to feel complete, to become complete, we brood over sense objects or people or situations. So the incompleteness causes brooding, brooding causes raga and dvesha. So raga and dvesha is a product of the mind and intellect. So we get attached to something by brooding and we form equations in our mind. I plus black forest is equal to maja. Then we brood on that. That how I am eating that, it's so tasty. After 1 year, I took a oath for 1 year I will not touch cake and pastry. After 1 year, wow, we brood. In that 1 year, how much that person has done the brooding, that person only knows. Waiting for it. That's brooding. So we form equation, I plus this object is equal to pleasure. I plus this much money is equal to security. I plus this bungalow is equal to status. There's one tower which is coming up in Worli. Biggest tower. World one it is called. So if I say I plus that flat is equal to status. So then we make these equations and we frame these equations in our mind and then we brood over them because our sense of happiness depends on that. So this is raga, get attached by brooding over things. Dvesha is I dislike something. So I plus this is equal to misery. I plus this person is equal to pain. One makes these equations. So this is called raga and dvesha. So whatever I am attached to, I run towards that. Whatever I don't like, I run away from that. And in this running towards and running away from, what do I want? Shanti. How it will happen? Running towards something, running away from something, mind is filled with raga and dvesha. It will not remain quiet. So name dvesha raga. Raga and dvesha remain in the mind only because of the brooding. Name lobha moha. Now these are 6 vikaras which come. Lobha is greed, moha is delusion, mada is intoxication, intoxication of wealth, intoxication of power, intoxication of youth. Mada. Matsarya is jealousy. He says, I am none of these 6 impurities of the mind. He has given 4 here, but all the 6 are implied. Kama and Krodha, they get implied. Because Raga is given there, so automatically Kama, Krodha come. So all these 6 impurities, he says, these are all the products only of the mind. They are not there in deep sleep. They cannot affect the Atma. So I am not these 6 modifications of the mind, nor am I the 4 Purusharthas, Artha, Kama, Dharma and Moksha. This buddhi of ours, one of the qualities of buddhi is it seeks purpose. Everything has to have a purpose. If the purpose is not clear, there is directionlessness. One loses the way. So everything must have a purpose. And that's why we ask that question also. What is the purpose of this creation? What is the purpose of this life? So causation hunting is the preoccupation of the buddhi. And Upanishad say the creation is purposeless. That we can't understand. Anyway, I will not go into that right now because that's a different topic altogether. So this Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha, these are four Purusharthas. Arthyate, Purushaihi. So the human being wants this. And these guide the life of a human being also. These are stages in the evolution of human being's life also. And this is the purpose of human being's life. So the life is on track because of these four. He says, I am none of these four because these Artha, Kama, Dharma and Moksha are applicable only to the buddhi. When the buddhi is not awakened, Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha one doesn't even bother about. Who bothers about Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha? Does a small child bother about it? Small child wants love, that's all. He doesn't bother about Artha, Kama, Dharma and Moksha. So these four, they depend on the buddhi. This shloka we will take a little more detail tomorrow. For now we will spend some time in contemplation.
This is just to remind you about the Samashti Diksha which is planned for tomorrow after the evening talk. So we get a chance to have Diksha with Swamijis. Now my request to you all is, you will have to enroll for this because we should know the number. I am not sure whether the organizers are going to serve us like forest or not, but I am sure that we will have a chance to have Diksha with Swamijis. So my request to you is, you can participate with your family members. Please enroll today at the counter so that we can plan for tomorrow's. Thank you.
Please sit erect, the head, the neck and the spine in a straight line. Let the feet be firmly on the ground. Close your eyes gently. Relax the shoulders. Let your hands be in your lap or on your knees. Palms facing the sky. Come to a comfortable posture without any strain in any part of the body. Suggest to your mind that for the next 10 minutes I am steady and still without any movement. For the next 10 minutes I am steady and still without any movement. Be aware of the happenings around you. The various sounds, the feel of the chair, the ground below your feet, the warmth in the atmosphere. Bring the mind into the present by being aware of the happenings around you. Be aware of the body, from the head to the toes. Mentally scan through the whole body. As though you are standing apart from the body and watching this body. The body is made up of the 7 dhatus. I have a body. I am not the body. Be aware of the breath. Let the breathing be slow, steady and deep. Be aware of each and every inhalation and exhalation. I am the witness of the breath. The breath comes and goes. It only energizes the body. Enlivening force is the consciousness. Be aware of any thoughts and emotions arising in the mind. I am the consciousness in whose presence the thought functions. In the space between the 2 eyebrows or in your heart, Visualize a circle of white light and invoke the auspicious form of the Sadguru or the Lord. You are in front of the Sadguru with folded hands, seeking the grace and blessings that may we have the Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti and Mumukshutvam to contemplate on the self. With all devotion and gratitude, we surrender ourselves to the Sadguru, the Lord. Together let us chant. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Offer some flowers at the feet of the Sadguru or the Lord. May the grace of the Sadguru, the Lord, lead us, guide us, and protect us. Now let us contemplate on the self. Lift the mind to the state of the self, negating all the false identification. From the beginning, let us hear and pay attention. Ahankara cittani naham na cha shrotra jihve na cha ghrana netre na cha vyoma bhumi na tejo na vayu chidananda rupah Shivoham, 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 Sada Chinmayoham, Sada Satchidananda Rupa Shivoham. Shivoham, Shivoham, Sada Chinmayoham, na cha prana sanyo, na vai panchavayuh, na va sapta dhatur, na va panchakoshah, na va pani padau, Chopastapayo Chidananda Rupah Shivoham, Shivoham न मे द्वेषरागो न मे लोभमोहो मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थो न वेदा न यज्ञाः अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे मृत्युशङ्का न मे जातिभेदः पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न बन्धुर्न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं सदा चिन्मयोऽहं शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं सदा चिद्घनोऽहं सदा सच्चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहम् अहं निरुविकल्पो निराकाररूपः विभुर्व्याप्य सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणां सदा मे समत्वं न मुक्तिर्न बन्धः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं सदा चिन्मयोऽहं सदा सच्चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं 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 सदा चिद्घनोऽहं शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहम् By the grace of the Lord and the blessings of the Sadguru, may we abide in the self through the day, remind ourselves that this is only a role that I am playing. My nature is pure consciousness. Become aware of your breathing. Be aware of the body. And be aware of the happenings around you. We pray for everyone's well-being. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Rub your palms, place them on the face, gently open the eyes.